Okay, I think we just lost him. The baby will come out. Okay, so tonight's discussion tonight is a goal for the Rebbe's perspective, positive perspective on the Jewish people. Um, so it's going to be the Rebbe over a course of 3 weeks. The Rebbe addressed how he perceived the Yidden at that time, and they had the threat of the Scud missiles. It was a similar situation which find ourselves now. Um, I'm sure most of you could fill me in on this more than I don't remember this, but saying could fill them in how
you didn't born?
I was born, but I don't remember.
Younger.
Yeah.
What year was it?
91, right? 1991.
91?
Okay, there we go.
Is that with the older Bush or the younger Bush? If you guys remember.
The father Bush, yeah.
The older Bush.
Yeah.
He's not alive anymore. There you go.
Okay, so
And what's with that one?
so there was a big threat going on, and
Americans.
so there's different approaches in between the religious leaders. There was different approaches about how to respond, and how to react and perceive this threat that was posed at the Israel and the Yidden at that time. It was pretty scary, pretty frightening, and understandably, many Jewish leaders, warned the worst, and how we have to, do tshuva, and obviously, everyone agrees to that. It's important. We should add in good things, and some people went a little bit farther and made it a little more frightening by saying, who knows, it could be a second Holocaust, shouldn't happen. And, it could be maybe, a punishment, chas v'shalom, Rahman al-Islam. So, because, a lot of Yidden are not, are not religious. This was some saying that a lot of, I understand why they were saying that. They're saying, well, we look in the Torah, there are different consequences for different, negative behaviors. So they were going sort of, with that, and maybe many people were obviously frightened and wanted to leave Israel, and didn't know what's going to happen. Just that, everyone knows the story. What ended up happening, that it was actually miraculous that all the Scuds which were sent did not harm the Yidden, and they didn't send the chemicals which they wanted, which they said they would, and ended up, thank God, with a lot of miracles.
I think only one got killed from heart attack.
Right. So that was an amazing miracle which Hashem made for the Yidden. So at that time, before we had the miracle, so the Rebbe actually came out with a surprising different attitude to the whole situation, which was, you had to have pretty broad shoulders to be able to come out with such confidence and say that everything's going to be good, and the Yidden are going to have miracles, and Hashem's going to do wonderful things for Yidden, because Hashem protects the Yidden, looks after them, and wants good for the Yidden. So this was, and the Rebbe told people to stay in Israel. And people asked they should leave. Their kids were in seminary and school, and the Rebbe wasn't just like maybe it's probably going to be okay. The Rebbe was like, chas v'shalom to leave. Don't even think don't even tell anyone that you thought of leaving. It was like very surprising, like in a rational way. It was very hard to understand. There was a threat, and and it was frightening, and it's very difficult to understand. But so the Rebbe did explain his approach. Besides for mentioning many times what it says, that Hashem's eyes are always upon Eretz Yisrael to protect it and look after it. That was quoted a lot. But the Rebbe explained his approach to looking positively at the Yidden, and why we shouldn't think negatively that there might be a punishment coming, and that the Yidden Chas Shalom deserve this, and that's something along those lines. So that's and for 3 weeks the Rebbe was discussing that and bringing it out in a different ways. So just going to go through different points that the Rebbe brought in these different sikhs. That the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, famous Gemara, that's Afal Pisha Chata Yisroel, even though if a Yid does a chait, does an aveda, nevertheless he's still a Yid. He still remains a Yid. So what does that mean? He still remains a Yid, right? So the Rebbe brings from the Rambam. The Rebbe generally looks at the Rambam as halachic. He was in his book Mishnah Torah as a halachic codifier. He was making a ruling that it was a ruling, it was a psak din halacha. So that's like a final word, and this is how we follow. So it's not just something, a Gemara or a Medrash or something, which maybe there could be different opinions, but that's not actually the halacha. Rebbe looked at the Rambam as the one who's paskening the halacha, as long as in Shulchan Aruch and those topics there's no discussion. So then we follow the Rambam. So the Rambam says like this, that somebody who wants to, who is Yetzer Hara, he says, I'll read the Lashon. It says, Misha takva Yetzer Hara. Someone who his Yetzer Hara overpowered him, the Vatal Mitzvah, and caused him, the Yetzer Hara caused him to be Mevatel a Mitzvah, okay, to not do a Mitzvah. Only lasts as Aveda or to do an Aveda. So the Rambam continues, he says, Yisroel. He says he wants to be a Yid. He really wants to be a Yid. Really, he wants to do all the mitzvahs. And to distance himself from doing Avedas. The Yitzre Hushatakve. Only what? His Yetzer Hara got the better part of him and overpowered him. Takve. In other words, it's just something superficial. He wants it's only superficial. This that he's actually not doing what Hashem asks and not doing the mitzvah is not Yetzer Hara, exactly. The halacha is discussed twice in the Rambam. The halacha is that if you're right, if there's a bezdin, a Yiddish bezdin, if they ask a Yid to give a get when according to halacha he's supposed to give a get, so then he right. So the thing is that he has to give a get. He has to give it with his own will that he wants to give it. He can't coerce a get. So
they can force him.
Today's Daf Yomi.
But they have to force him until he says, I want. Until they force him, which means they give him patch until he says, I want. That sounds like a joke. He says he wants. He says he wants because you're giving him a good patch.
Not a patch. They hire a few guys and they bid him.
Right.
And tell him you have to give gas. I know he borrowed.
Right. And you're talking about a guy. Okay, listen, but we're talking about a guy who has to be hit in order to do it. Now, obviously, we're talking about when it's proper. This is supposed to happen. Because if they made a mistake, that they weren't supposed to, that he didn't really need to give a get, so then it's not a good get. This is what he says he wants to. Why? Because the person knows the neshama. The person has a neshama. The person's neshama wants to do what the Eibishter wants. That's what he says. He wants to do it the way he wants to. The Rambam says he wants to be part of the Yidden. He wants to do all the mitzvahs. So that's why he wants to give the gets. Only what his Yetzer Hara is holding him hostage, to use today's terminology. is holding Yitzhar is holding him hostage and not allowing him to do the right thing. So if the Bezdin was doing the right thing, they were doing what the Torah, according to Torah, he was supposed to give a get. So his neshama really wants to do it. If the Bezdin wasn't doing the right thing, so the neshama doesn't really want to give the get. So therefore, it wasn't for real when he said, "I want to give the get." Right? It's an interesting Rambam saying it's so. But this is what the Rambam says. The Rambam is like the dry halacha. He says that it's the guy's screaming he doesn't want to give it. You have to force the guy. You have to, after you're giving him a touch, he's still saying he doesn't want to. Until you finally get him against the wall, and then he says, Reitzani, oh, he really wants. Why does he really want? Because his neshama wants. But his Yitzhar is not allowing him to say. And now we got rid of the Yitzhar in the way. Now he's able to do what he really wants. So this is the idea. It says also by Hirchas Karbanis, Rambam brings it. By a carbon. A carbon also has to be brought, let's say. A person doesn't want to bring a carbon, so Bezin also can force him until he says, I want to bring the carbon.
If you open the Jewish press every week, they have one column like this,
Sure.
Get, and they give you which bed din and what year was it. See like 20 of them. Unbelievable.
Okay, so right. I don't know. I'm not getting involved in the, but this is what the Rambam says. This is what the Rambam says. So this is what the Rebbe is using. The Rebbe is using this Rambam. The Rambam is a psak halacha. The Rambam is telling us that this is what really every Yid's about. Every Yid you meet, and this is the approach which Chabad always took when we look at a Yid. It's not that we have to give him. We're going to go to give him, offer him a mitzvah, offer him to put a tefillin. It's not that we're taking somebody who has no connection and we're giving him the connection, but we're just telling him this is who he really is. This is who you are. This is not this, and we just have to take away the Yitzhahara, which we do it and try to do it in a Dakinayim, and we're not kaifim say, but we ask him to we try to be in a positive way. We try to help the neshama shine, try to bring out who they really are. And so every single Yid, so every single Yid, this is who they really are. And every Yid says, right, we just read in the Zeis HaBracha, we said, every Yid, the Torah belongs to every single Yid. It doesn't make a difference when someone inherits something. It doesn't make a difference how the behavior of the inheritor, one who's inheriting, is. Even a small child, Tinu Ben Yemek, right? It doesn't make a difference. He still inherits everything. So every Yid inherits the entire Torah. So that's the first point. So the Rebbe brings addresses this about not speaking. Have to be careful how we speak about other Yidden. First of all, it says Al Tiftach Peh Satan. There's a rule is brought Al Tiftach Peh Satan. We don't want to open up our mouth to say something, Chas Shalom, to give any ideas to the side Shekineged, to the other side. Besides for that, it's contrary to the honor of Hashem. Say something derogatory about a Yid, and also to the honor, obviously, of Yidden. And it's also the opposite. It's contrary to the truth. So that first discusses how it's contrary to the truth. Hepa Emes, to say something derogatory about Yidden. Okay, again, remember, we're talking about Yidden. The remarks were aimed at Yidden who, on most part, we're not keeping Torah mitzvahs, like the majority of Yidden today. And so the Rebbe starts off by bringing another Rambam. Again, this is Psak Din. The Rambam says that how do we judge if someone is how they're, if they're tzaddik, they're Beinoni or Rasha? How do we judge if they're doing good or not doing good? How does it work, right? So most of us are sure, I figured it out. I know if somebody's good or not good. I could decide. I just take one look at them and I know exactly. When I see them doing this, I know, right? That's just human. We're just like that. We're judgmental. So, some less than others. But really, the Rambam says that we don't really know. We really can't really be judgmental for other people. Why? Because the Rambam brings like this. That this shikul zeh, to make this kashbin of the Averis and the mitzvahs a person has, is not based on the quantity of the mitzvahs, but the quality of the mitzvah. It's very important. Not the quantity, how much mitzvahs he's doing, but the quality of the mitzvah. Right? This is a whole different look. Quantity is how many.
No, but quality.
Right. What does it mean? What does that mean?
If you do it l'shem shamayim,
right. That's one of the right. Exactly. Right. Could have somebody who does a lot of mitzvah, but it's all about himself. Right. Somebody who does even something small, but it's meaningful. He does it really. He's sincere. He really does it for Hashem. Right. Really cares about another yid. Right. So again, so this and the Rambam says that you could have one schus, one merit, which outweighs many averis. Ain't sheklim el b'daiti shakil days. We can only measure with the Hashem, when He's the one who really knows. Which means we don't have that capability. We're not able to. That's the malachim Hashem could do. That's not part of our shluchus in this world to judge other people. If they're how they're doing. He's the one who knows how to measure the mitzvahs and connected aveis. So how does that apply in this situation that Rebbe says is that the people in this generation who don't do mitzvahs, Rebbe referred to them as tinik shenishba. Tinik shenishba is a child which was captured between the goyim, and it says in the Rambam. We have the whole Rambam over here. Talks about it says that he is or a person or a child who grew up between the goyim. He says he's like an onus. He's like onus means it's how we translate. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. Right. It's not his fault. It's an oinus rachmana patin, and it says that rachmana the Torah gave an exemption to somebody who's an oinus, somebody who wasn't possible for him. So it says the Rambam continues. The Rambam says that even if we were going to come and tell them later about the mitzvahs and say, oh, what do you mean? I told them and they didn't listen and they're still. So they say, they didn't grow up this way. They're not used to this. So it's harder for them to accept us and start behaving in a new way and to think differently than the way they were brought up. Their thought process is different. So it's not so easy for them as someone who was brought up that way. So the Rambam says, so the Rambam continues, and therefore we should draw them closer with chevla avesas ava, with ropes of love. We should bring them closer and that's what we should do. So on one hand, the Yidden who are not keeping Torah and mitzvahs, on one hand, they have the ptur. We're looking at them. We're looking at the way Torah looks at their mitzvahs, right? We said only Torah, only Hashem could see how the good versus the bad. Okay, so again, all the Vedas we're saying we could wipe it away because Oinus Rachmana Patri, because Hashem gave a ptur, because they went through. There was all the even if their parents, it says, even if their parents maybe went off on purpose, but these are already the next generation, and this is already so they are potter. On the other hand, every one mitzvah that they do, even one mitzvah, for sure many mitzvahs, which Chazal say, the Gemara brings in Chagiga, that Ein lecha adam Yisroel shalikim kama mitzvahs. No yid which didn't do many mitzvahs, right? Milei mitzvahs kedimin. Every single yid is full with mitzvahs like a rimin, like a pomegranate, which means so every mitzvah which they did is so precious and so dear to Hashem. So for the Avedas, we're not looking at the Avedas. That's not their fault. But for every mitzvah which they did, it's extra special. It's worth so much, and it's very precious by Hashem. And we actually saw, and on the contrary, we saw many Yidden actually started coming closer to Yiddishkeit in this generation. So therefore, we can't really say something Chas Shalom, start saying that Hashem is counting all the Avedas of the Yidden and waiting Chas Shalom to do something, because Yidden are not being, so many Yidden are not doing Kedem Mitzvahs, Rahman al-Islam, because that's not the way Hashem looks at it. So that's first of all. So that's about how it's Hepech Emes. It's not the truth, which means until now we're saying that. What do you mean? Look at the facts. Look what the Yidden are doing, and so this is what they deserve. I say, well, 1 second, we're not in that place to say that. We can't say that this is what they deserve. Saying and if you look in the Torah, it looks the opposite. That these Yidden are pater, and every mitzvah, adrabah, they deserve the best. So that's first of all, it's Hepech Emes. The second point is that it's Hepech Kvedish LaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's contrary to the kavod of Hashem. It's not kavodic for Hashem. So it's very important how we describe Hashem. How do we look at Hashem? How do we look at Hashem? As Hashem is this being which is keeping track of all of our Vedas and waiting, because that's the way some certain individual were speaking. Is he waiting to count and to fill up the barrel until he's ready? He's ready to give the punishment. Shema al-Islam. He's like this mean king who's waiting to punish his citizens. So you're describing Hashem as if he's like this mean person, mean being, this mean, he's trying out to get us. This, like the fire and brimstone is coming, waiting to, this. So that's not what Hashem's about. Hashem is of Harachamim. We know we just came from Tishrei. We're always asking Rachmanis from the Eibishter, we're asking Slichas from the Eibishter for everything we did. Hashem is a father, a merciful father. Many psukim and Maimer Chazal talk about it, starting from Yugim Midas Harachamim. Right? We say Hashem twice, Midas Harachamim before we have the Aveda, after we did Aveda. This is Kael is also Midas Harachamim, Rachum, Bechanun, Erchapayim, Rav Chesed. They say Avinu Fashem Chata. We're saying all these things. Hashem's merciful. He's not running to give punishment. He has great kindness, abundance of kindness. He forgives for Avedas. So Hashem, that's not how we look at Hashem as this being which is looking to get us, punish us. What Hashem is really dealing with most of the time is to add simchas by Yidden. Like it says in the Gemara says it's a Medrash. The Medrash says, what does Hashem do since He finished creating the world? What is He doing? He says,
making
shidduchim. Good. He's making shidduchim. That's what it says. It should be simchas.
Amen.
It should be and all good, all simchas, which is yeah, so that's what it says, and also the simcha of Geula, which is the chasam of the Yidden and Hashem. Mehedi Yeshama bar Yehuda v'chos Yishlayim kal sasam kal simcha chasam v'kalam. So that's what Hashem is looking to make simchas by Yidden, not trying to make chas shalom tragedies. Hashem wants only good for Yidden. Hashem loves every Yid. And furthermore, even when Hashem chas shalom has to punish someone after he was very patient and but it's not coming as a vengeance. It's a kama. He's trying to take
from love.
Yeah, taking a kama. He's trying to take revenge. He does it. Hashem's not like even a good person doesn't do that, right? Of course, Hashem is much higher than that, right? That he does it for the good of the person. A punishment is there in order to clean the person from the schmutz of the Aveda. It's there as to help the person to clean them off. Not as a shalom as anger is trying to, like it says, like the Rebbe brings in Tanya, he says, like a merciful father of Rachman, Chacham at Tzaddik, who's a Chacham and a Tzaddik, Hamak b'nei, which is hitting his son just to put him in his place, that he should do the right thing. Not in order to take. Father's not giving Makis Retzach, trying to give him the anger. That's a problem, right? That's abusive, right? That guy belongs in jail, right? He's a good father is there does it in mercy. He wants, like it says, like a great father, like a great king, which is he himself is washing his only son from all his schmutz. Change the diaper, exactly, to change from his schmutz. But he says because he loves him. He's his great king. He doesn't deal with this type of stuff.
He
loves his son so much. He's doing it himself. He's cleaning him off, but it's not because chas v'shalom. That's
the opposite. It's come from love.
It's from love.
It said Hosech shifto soneh beno. If you don't,
right, and right,
you hate your son.
So he says that right? So he says that, and that's furthermore that not only this that it's out of love. When he has to give the punishment, he has to wash him off. He has sad. It bothers the father that the son is in pain. It bothers him. He's not happy that the son is in pain. It's sad. It says in the Medrash. It says Mitzvah Hakadosh Baruch Hu Alzev Etzoik Oili. Because Hashem has sar, and he says, "Woe to me," when he has to punish a yid. Bisman, it says in the Gemara, Bisman she'adam mitzta'ir. When a person has sar, the Shekhinah says, "Imeres kalani mireshi," my head hurts. Kalani mizrei, my arm hurts. And the pasuk says, "Imei anoichi b'tzara," and tell him that I am with the yid during his tzara. Hashem is with the yid. But chol tzarasam loy tzar. That any tzara which a yid has, loy tzar, it bothers him. He has sar. He has sar when a yid. But man shohayu b'tzara hayu loy tzar. That whenever the yidden are b'tzar, the Eibishter is having sar. Right now, the Eibishter is having sar. When the Yidden are b'tzar, so the Eibishter has sar. So that's when you get the Eibishter. The Eibishter is a loving father who wants to who wants to do good, and if he has to do something, it's only for the good of the person, and it bothers him that he has to do it. The next thing is Heipach Kveden Shel Yisroel. It's contrary to the kaved of a Yid. Yidden are banav shel Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Yidden are the children of Hashem. Yidden are the children of Hashem, like it says in the pasuk, Banim atem Hashem alekechem. So earlier, Shmeiser says, B'ni b'feiri Yisrael. Yidden are like the firstborn. And the Eibishter loves them, like it says. The pasuk says, Opsukim Malachi. Ahafti eschem amar Hashem. Hashem says, I love you. I love you. Hashem tells the Yidden, I love you. Hinar Yisrael v'yaveyu. The Yidden are like a child which he loves. And like the Baal Shem Tov says, famous title of the Baal Shem Tov, Baal Shem Tov says that Hashem loves every single Yid. Hashem's love for every single Yid is greater than elderly parents to their only son, which was born to them when they were older. Ben Skunim, and the Ben Yachid Ben Skunim, only one, and he's and he can't bear that he should hear anything bad about a Yid, anything about his children. Oh, nobody wants to hear bad things about the children, and it offends Hashem when you speak against another Yid. As if you're offending Hashem, like it says, somebody who touches a Yid, it's like he's touching the pupil of his eye. Touching of the Eibishter, eye.
This one.
Right? It's a pasuk in Skaya. Even in the Nevi Yisrael, right? We know the Nevi'im, a lot of them, they said a lot of Musar to the Yid, right? But it says, even in the Nevi Yisrael, Beis Sadikim, right? How could, compare to them? Which it says, Ruach Hashem Dibur Bam Milas Elashin, that Hashem spoke through them. The Spirit went through them. It says in the Medrash, it says, Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu Reitzel Mish Eimer Dol Turaya Al Yisrael. Hashem does not want a Navi which says bad things about the Yidden. He doesn't want such a Navi. Like Yeshaya HaNavi. Yeshaya HaNavi was the Gadol Shem Nevi'im, the greatest of the Nevi'im. Like it says that the Gemara says that he was like a ben krach shiras melech. He was someone who felt hamish with the melech. He was like in the capital city. He knew the king, not like some ben kvar, right? Cheskel, difference to the Gemara, something to Cheskel and Yeshaya. So when he said, he threw in, he said, it was like tmeis v'sayim anichiyish. He says, I'm dwelling amongst a nation which has impure lips. That's what he called the Yidden. It's tmeis v'sayim. So Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem told him, Yeshaya, b'nafshecha, after Rashi Lerner, if you want, you could say, if you want to say about yourself that I am a man of impure lips, that's okay. Can you say you're dwelling amongst a nation of people which have impure lips? Let's see what it says Over there, it says Vayov. Afterwards, it says Vayov alai echad min asrafim b'yad ritzba. That one of the malachim came and he took a coal from the mizbech, and he Reitzpeh put it on his lip, it burnt his lip. And it says Reitzpeh's power, or like crushed the mouth who says not good things about him. For sure other Nevi Yisrael. Even though we're talking about Galish Nevi'im, who are we? It says that it continues. The Medrash continues. He says, "If that's the way the pillars of the world were punished, if they just said something small, said something. What did he say? Something small about a yid. For sure, anyone who's not at all in that league, should say things against communities of Yidden. To call them Peishim Rishayim, call them Rishayim, and a person has to be careful before they have to think about what they say, whatever they're going to be written. Has to be careful because Hashem, we shouldn't make people demoralized. We have to inspire people, lift up people, make people feel positive and feel good and feel positive. When the more we speak positive to people, that brings people closer, makes people want to do more good things.
It said Mavet v'chaim b'yad halashon. What you're saying, you can kill someone or you can give him life.
Yeah. Right? And just to talk about what we said before about Yiftach, just talk about it a little more. Al Tiftach Palos Satan. The Gemara says, Yiftach Adam Piv Satan. Person should open up his mouth to say something, for the Satan. Like it says, Kemat Kisdeim Ahinu. That he said that Yeshaya said that we're almost like Sdoim. We became almost like Sdoim. And it says Shimo Dvar Hashem Ketzin Sdoim. It had an effect. Because it Chas Hashem, when a person says things, they have to be careful what we say. It shouldn't be Ma'ir Dinim Chas Hashem. So we understand if this is not good. On the other hand, to speak good about a yid, see the effect we're able to have a yid, and we talk good about yid and how it's going to be good and everything's going, and this yid deserves good and Yidden deserve good things. For sure, we're the midateva, how we can bring out good things. So we find tzaddikim. Which we find many Gedei Yisrael that they were malamas kosa Yidden. Even when the Yidden were mamash very low, they needed to even speak. They couldn't even speak like literally. They had to like find stories from like say things from the Gemara or something. Try to learn. Say, what do you mean? Yidden are avadim, and it's so nice. Maisa says that the Yidden I think it's Baditchevet. He said the Yidden are they had like a hunger or something. And he's got the Yid. He made a bezdin of all the tzaddikim, and he said, maybe it wasn't, but I think it was a b'dishav. He says that the Yidden are avadim to the Eibishter, and the master has to give food to his servant. Where does it say if the servant is not behaving properly, he doesn't get the food? So they will have these Titus, and a few days later, the whole shipment came from Siberia. The whole story. So they would use things maybe not in a regular way of speaking, and that they couldn't find something like and say, oh, this is right. Everyone knows the Baditchev story. They asked this guy who was smoking Yom Kippur. He says maybe you don't know. He says maybe you don't know today's Yom Kippur. He says no, I know today's Yom Kippur. Maybe you don't know you can't smoke on Yom Kippur. He says no, I know you can't smoke. He says Eibishter, look at Mikam Yisrael. They always say the emes. So they always saw tzaddikim. They always looked at them.
He didn't look at it. He's doing it. Look at it.
He's malamas kusan. So even if the Metzias Raphael was maybe hard to say that it was good, but they would find some way of malamas kus. So for sure, when you taka have the emerson limits kus, like the Yidden in this generation, when taka have the emerson limits kus. It says by Yidden, how did Yidden become the leader? It says that the Yidden were at that time in a tzara, right? The Yidden they were the Goyim at that time were came at war against the Yidden, and they needed a leader. Why the Yidden? Why was he chosen? Because he says that Hashem was looking for somebody who's going to melamed schus. That's what it says. He says, the Tanchuma says, the Medrash says, V'yamav Yisroel b'tzara, v'hayakadosh baruch hu mevakesh adam sheyilamed schus. The Eibush was looking for a Yid who's going to melamed schus on the Yidden. He's looking at that, and Kaven Shem nimtza schus begidden shalamed schus. Once he found Gidden, he was melamed schus on the Yidden. Miyad nigel malach, right away the malach appeared to him. It says, Vayar malach Hashem. Vayemale leich b'keichach said, go and fight with this koyach. The koyach schus shalamat dabani. This koyach of the schus that you're melamed schus on my children. So you have, he says, Amakash Baruch Hu Yish b'chakeach l'lamed schus and Guriya Yisroel. You have the koyach to melamed schus and Yidden. The schus chay negalim and your schus to negalim. We see the power of melamed schus and Yidden, how it helps bring the gula for the Yidden, helps them come out of the matzah that side. So, and especially this generation, Rebbe's melamed schus. Also very interesting how the Rebbe looked at it. The Rebbe always encouraged to say that Mashiach's coming soon. We just have to do some more. Like this is part of this way of thinking that the Gemara says kala kitzim, all the times which was said about when Mashiach would come already passed. The Gemara already said that. And we have 2,000 years, and Mashiach still wouldn't come. It says you have to do tshuva. Rebbe says for sure every Yid had hirat tshuva. So that Rebbe found the way. Lamed schus in every Yid. Every Yid for sure at one point had a hirat tshuva. Okay, this is after you hear this whole beginning of the sikha. You stand where the Rebbe was coming from when he was melamed schus. The approach he took. Rebbe wasn't trying to look to be machmir on this. Was trying to find a reason that Hashem should find a reason, take the Yidden out. So he brought the
it says in Masechet
the Gemara in Kiddushin.
If somebody was Makadosh Yishon Tzaddik,
right, why? Exactly. Why? Because Shem Hirachuvah, someone he's saying over here that if someone, the Rambam also brings it, that someone says to a lady that I am that you are Makadeshus. On condition, I'm a Kaddish on condition that I'm a Tzaddik Gomer. Even if he was a Rasha Gomer,
he's Mekudeshes.
He's Mekudeshes. Why? Maybe he was Maharid Shava. Which means with one Machshava, this person is able to become, right? Baal Shava. So the Rebbe said for sure Mashiach has to come, and that was also I didn't bring it in this sikha. There's different Rambam which the Rebbe brings is that it's from the Gemara also Kedushin that a person should always look at the whole world as is equal mitzvahs and equal. If a person does one mitzvah and is able to tip the whole scale and bring tshuva to the whole entire world. So that's straight what the Rebbe said. This is a straight Rambam. It's not Lubavitcher Chiddush. This is a Rambam.
In the Rosh Hashanah, if you make more mitzvah, it's mechia. It doesn't say if you make one of it as mechia at all. Say the positive.
It doesn't bring the other side. Interesting. So yeah. So it's one thing, one mitzvah. The Rebbe said, do one mitzvah and bring Mashiach.
There was a Perminta brother that make the full tape, and the song was Mitzvah Gorot, Mitzvah V'Aror Gorot Avera. That was the full tape there, so they gave it to the Rebbe to listen to it. So take away the second part. Only sing Mitzvah Gorot, Mitzvah.
Interesting. The Rebbe adds that this limud schus on this generation especially is because like Chaya says. That this is it tells us Satan back off. This is a ud mutzel meish. This is a rod which is saved from the fire.
Right.
Which means the Eibishter himself tells the Satan, don't be makatek on the Yidden, right?
But he sent the Baruch was saying the Satan,
right? But the Eibishter doesn't want.
He's upset on the Satan that he's doing his job.
He wants us to come and be melamed schus on a Yid and to send him away. The Eibishter wants to.
Look how many tefillin I've been putting in Eretz Yisrael now. Look how many mezuzahs. Look how many teire.
Unbelievable stories.
It's all non-stop. A month ago, these people wouldn't look at you.
Your son-in-law, right? His son-in-law is raised $1.5 million, right? Bulletproof vest, right?
And it's not enough.
The other son-in-law is doing sushi to people, right?
It's not enough. I just like
Israel, right?
That's all they're looking for 400.
400 what?
Fully prof.
What the still
They need.
That's all in Israel.
So maybe connect them.
I know.
They know. Okay.
Maybe he gave it to Batzala.
So he says, he says, who's Yidden? So few Yidden are left, and you're tells the and this is I'm trying to makatig on them. So this generation was a generation after the Holocaust. The saints from the Holocaust. Hashem Yikin Damu. So Chas Hashem to makatig on them, which right,
Only say good.
right. So and so people are going to say, and so they were how do we look at that? Rebbe throws in how do we look at the Holocaust? Because it was part of the way some leaders were saying that the Holocaust was a punishment and this is going to be again. So Rebbe didn't go for that. So he said there is this concept. There is this concept. It's brought in the Gemara. It says when they saw Rabbi Kiva as being combed with the masrekesh or bows with the metal combs. And also all the Asari Arugi Machus. So it says Zu Teira is Teira. This is the word. So it says
I'm asking.
Shtei Kach Ala Machshav Lefan. Says Hashem says, be quiet. That is what came in my. This is what I decided. Zaydi Omofane. And look at Bris Ben Absarim. He didn't anything bad. He didn't do anything yet. He didn't went around yet. But they already decided that they're going to go into Galus. But it's they say you're going to be it says that they're going to suffer in 400 years in Mitzrayim. What did they do wrong? They weren't even around. It's not because of Vedas. That's Rebbe should decided. Whatever his reasons are, we don't know his reasons. We don't know. Some people start saying, "Oh, the reason why the Gashim this happened." I researched. I saw what people write. Saying it's still today. A lot of I understand why we're
They come from Sechel Noshi.
Right.
So you think like that.
Right. So
they told you don't think like that. Think positive.
The problem is that the magnitude of the catastrophe is not possible to explain it as a punishment. That's what the Rebbe holds. With so many people,
Fathers upset at his kids, it doesn't start killing them.
Right. Exactly. So that's what we discussed before when you ran out. We were discussing that point that the father, every Yid is like a ben Yachid, which is born to the elderly parents alone. Right, and he loves every single Yid. He's not so it doesn't make sense. There's no hesber for that. So the Frierdiker, there was once one of the Gdelim came to the Frierdiker, the Eretz, and he wanted to say it's because of this or that. He said, we don't need to be so much malamas close in the Eibishter, we don't understand, we don't have to find reasons for him to do what he did, to explain what he did. We don't understand. Like we said, the Eibishter definitely doesn't want this. It said
Nistarot Achei Hashem.
No. It says from the time that Yisroel said already. We brought in the Mitzvah ever brings that Yisroel said from in his times already. That Yisroel was 500 years ago. He said that there's no more hashmadis, no more like the pogrom, these things like, and at that, which at that time was you had tach v'tat from Rashi, right? So it was earlier until the expulsions. And it says tatnu. The Crusades were during that. It was during the Rashi's time. Rabbi Natan, right? Rabbi Natan was killed in the. So until the expulsion from Portugal and Spain, right? From all those things, and then it stopped at that time. No more hashmadis and all those Makadish Hashem. They're all from neshamis. Here's the whole explanation. They're from high neshamis, and it has to do with more. It's from that there was explanation. The reason why they were killed, there was an explanation because they were from the time of the first base of Mikdash when they served Avodah Zarah, and there was no tikkun until it came this time of Rashi and the Rambam until that Rizal until this time, and that's the time when they got their tikkun, their aliyah and their tikkun, right? So since their Aveda was Avodah Zarah, so therefore their tikkun was through Mesiras Nefesh. Their tikkun was Mesiras Nefesh with Amunah Pshuta. That's what that Yisrael says, right? So their Aveda was Avodah Zarah, so their tikkun was the Mesiras Nefesh with Amunah Pshuta. But starting from that Yisrael, so it's already a time of tikkun and nigla, and he was revealed to him the Chachmas of Kabbalah. Mitzvah, there's no more hashmadis and not going to be anymore. There was.
This is the Yidden
So
that died against Hashem. So
before the time.
No, even now the people dying is they dying on Kiddush Hashem.
For sure.
And the Shoma is that they're missing the Kiddush Hashem. That's it.
So, but that was before. He says that until that Rizal, they were Mesiras Nefesh on Amun Pshuta was because they were in a Shamas base from the first base of Mikdash, which did Avodah Zarah. So they're massacring it through Mesiras Nefesh on Amun. Starting from that Rizal, there's no more Hashmadas. He says right. It's not necessary for Tikkun. So it's a raya if they need another raya, that these hashmadas are another thing. They're not as a oynish and a tikkun. They're a different thing. We don't understand what they are. We don't understand. Adrabah, we say about all the people in the Holocaust, we say they call them Kedeshim. All Yidden call them Kedeshim. Right. And since they're killed at Kedushas Hashem because they were Yidden. Why Kedushas Hashem? Because they were killed for being Yidden.
All these people they're dying now, they're dying Kedushas Hashem.
100%
because they're Yidden.
100%. Yeah. That's why I'm saying it over. I'm talking about what's happened now. I'm bringing it not to bring up the Holocaust. I'm just bringing it because what just happened
I'm
now.
saying so. This is a tikkun. All these people that dying, it's a tikkun tzadikim.
We don't know
missing the part of Kiddush Hashem. So
they
want attacking now this.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying we don't know why. That's what I'm saying. We're saying we don't know why.
We can't give up.
We know that they're Kedeshim. We know that we're not trying to explain it, but we know that they're Kedeshim. They went on Kiddush Hashem.
Exactly. And
Hashem Yinkim Dama, we always add, right? That Hashem's going to take revenge for everything which happens. And like we say in Avraham, right? We say in Avraham, we say that Kilos HaKedesh V'Shnavasur Nafshek Kiddush Hashem and Yinkim Dat Nikos Dam HaShafoch, the Eibush is going to take revenge on the Goyim, and he's going to take Yivdiya Goyim, the Neino Nikmas Dam Avadach HaShafoch, he's going to take revenge for all the blood which is spilled. So the Eibush says that they're his servants. Avadav, that these Yidden are his servants. And Hashem promises, the Yinkim, Nikmas, Dam, Avadav, Hashafach, the Eibush are going to take revenge for all the blood which was spilled. Since they didn't want this blood to be spilled, right? If he wants, what's the big deal, right? Maybe if he wanted it to happen.
We saw today.
No, we don't say that, right? That's a shalom, right? We say Yinkim, Nikmas, Dam, Hashafach, this means he didn't want.
We saw today they want to send a rocket to Haifa and explode in the hospital with them.
That's it. Right?
They want to send a rocket to Haifa and explode in the hospital by them.
400 killed.
It's not about the Eretz, they are the one who killed themselves.
Right.
In Gaza.
What is second?
How many people?
Whatever, but the point is the own hospital. They explode.
I think you have a minimum, exactly.
Yeah, we have.
So the Eretz made it.
It is that's the should help that we should have no Davis and should be
in Gaza.
Ulash Einachara Galos, should be finito, should be able to finish the job, should have the emissary Gula Mitzvah Shlema, shouldn't need all of this, and should have no Yid. Every Yid should be protected, and every Yid should have only good. The Teiv and Nidav and Nigla only revealed good.
Amen.
Maybe she should take care of those who are responsible for this, and have only have Mashiach now.
Yeah. I should continue making mistakes and send rocket to Israel and explode in Gaza. Let them do the job. Let them do the job.
He's coming to Israel.
The one with the hospital.
Good enough, Rabbi David.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
They have a video came out. It's a big rocket.
Muslims are liars. That's the history. That's the Quran. That's the Hadith.